Your circle will change as you accomplish your goals and level up. Everybody can't go.
And we live. Happy Wednesday and welcome to another Everybody Can't Go Convo. And if you guys have been with us before, or even if you are new, go ahead, trek back to episode, what was that, 1, 2, 3? Go back to the first 5 episodes. And this will be a familiar face for those of you who have been rocking with me all year. Thank you. Thanks for coming again. And I have one of your faves back. So today we have the procrastination bully, who I lovingly call my Mel T. Mellissa Thomas back in the building with us this week. And so give a brief intro for those that don't know you. Say hey to all of the people that they're sending me messages, sending me DMs and comments like, yo, where Mel at? What's she doing? I hit her pod. Like, that was dope.
Yeah, appreciate that. So hello everybody. I am Mellissa T, the procrastination bully. Appreciate you for having me back on, Jess. And yeah, shout out to everybody that's been DMing you. I'm here. Shout out to everybody that's been checking out the Getting the Win show. And if you're interested, you can check me out at Getting the Win on YouTube. But yeah, like I've been giving everybody this work, Jess. Like we got to get procrastination out of here. Every single person that is still breathing, and if you're watching this, like, you have an assignment. And if you real fancy like that, you probably have several assignments in you that you haven't gotten to yet. So I'm here to bully the procrastination out of you so you can get to
them. That's right. And with the most love and in the warmest way, y'all. I promise you. But look, getting results. Absolutely. So the reason why I had to have Mel come back on this week, especially because I was like, nah, we got to talk about this while it's fresh. So I'm fresh off of another shout out, fresh off of the Greenhouse Marriage Getaway. Shout out to Quest, shout out to Faith and the team over at Greenhouse. We got to take a nice week off where we spent time being on vacay, spending one-on-one time together, and also spent a lot of time learning from our premarital counselor, learning from other couples, and being poured into and loved on during the week. We had a time where there was time for class, there was time for fun, there was time for growing and building. And of course, y'all know when I go somewhere, I'm like, if it's a week-long trip, that means that the trip is automatically like 10, 11 days, because if you leave on a Friday night, it's a week-long trip and you don't come back until that following Sunday because he'll work on the weekends. We don't want to do that no more, okay? Like, look, I will add some days on there where I can. And so we took a nice chunk of time where we went early and stayed late, quote unquote, which to me is only right. And also was able to take some time out so that I could see my sis in person. Y'all, I've been missing her. Like, we can be on the phone. We can be on the internet, but it's something about getting a real warm hug in real life. So that was done as a part of that trip too, because I was close enough to be drivable. All right. So what I experienced once I got back, all of these great things were going on, riding the high of being able to get some rest, relaxation, to be able to have time to hone in on something that I'm passionate about, something I care about, my spouse. And just taking that time to get some mental rest. But then when I got back, I was like, oh, I'm so rested. I'm charged up. I'm going to hit the ground running. And I was very intentional. The day before it was time to come home, I almost, when we got to the airport, I almost let myself start getting stressed out about all of the things that were waiting for me when I got back home. And I said, wait, hold on. Let me bring it back in. Let me not think about all this stuff. Let me take a page out of my Mel T book. And I started to do a brain dump and made myself a checklist on my phone instead of when I felt myself starting to have those feelings, I was like, ooh, nope, I'm starting to feel anxious. And I was feeling real good just an hour or so ago. So let me not just sit here stewing and thinking about all these things. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my list. That helped me woosah and everything. I had my list. I thought I had a game plan. And y'all, the way that this week has gone, even though I've gotten things done, the plan that I started with on Sunday evening versus the way things went during the week, did not happen how I thought. So yeah, all of them, okay? Like I shook the camera and everything because that is what happened when I got back. And I know that we talked about that feeling previously of having some time off and then getting back into the swing of things, and how sometimes there can be roadblocks to that, and that is another form of procrastination. So I don't know, like tell me, what is your review of my week on what's been happening with me? What are your thoughts?
Wow. First of all, tornado per usual. There's usually a lot going on. But but I fully understand that sort of resistance that happens. Like when you're in vacation mode and you know you got to come back to the hustle and bustle of American life. Because, like, side note, I seriously believe it's just here. Like, I've been overseas. There are plenty of other nations that are capitalistic, but it's only ours that is so rush to the point where work is deified over our well-being, because we got to earn enough money, right, to keep a roof over our heads, and hashtag inflation. So I understand what you're talking about, that resistance. And you already know from our conversations, y'all. Jess and I have the privilege of being a part of a wonderful team, and the leader of the team was expressing some assistance that he was requesting of us, and Jess was the first one to raise her hand, and thankfully he declined. And then I just chimed in and said that part, because he said, respectfully, Jess, it's a no, only because I already know your plate is full. And I just chimed in and said that part, because y'all, like what I always say on my show, I am the procrastination bully. So I bully procrastination, but I do it out of love for the people that struggle with it. And so I know Jess is someone whose mind moves very quickly, very, very fast. She is wonderful at coming up with ideas and solutions. And the thing is, because she loves to solve problems, she'll take on a lot of stuff and then like forget just how full her plate already is. So the procrastination bully steps in and reminds her, like, hey, wait. Don't take that on if you already have a full plate. You know what I mean? So, and then as she mentioned earlier, the importance of getting that stuff on paper. You know what I mean? It greatly reduces the overwhelm because it's now out of your head. Like, it's very important to get everything out of your head, because one, things grow larger when they stay in your head, and the opposite happens. That's number two, which is once you write it down, it shrinks down to size because now you put light on it. Things grow and fester in the dark. When you bring them into the light, they shrink down to size. And in some cases, they fizzle away. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, those of you who have been following me, if you tuned into my episode, my first live stream at the end of season 2, you heard me talk about my health journey. And, I encountered a similar feeling to what Jess is talking about, like that switch in momentum, because my recovery time was roughly 6 weeks after the surgery. I'd gotten it at the end of June. And exactly what you're talking about, Jess, like like when you make your plans and like everything just drops. I know the feeling. And one of the things I learned, yes, the surgery was in my core, so my movement was limited. But one of the key things I learned to help me pick up some energy or some momentum is to physically move my body. Because an object at rest tends to stay at rest, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. So if you have to make the transition from being at rest to being in motion, start with simple body movements. One of the things I've been teaching on my show this last couple of weeks is the power of taking walks. Like, that sounds elementary and harmless, but even that makes a difference. And I saw that in a very concrete way just within my own house because of the depth of the surgery. Like, being able to stand up straight and just walking around the house for a few minutes, not even necessarily outside. By all means, go outside. You'll have the added benefit of, the vitamin D and all of that. Or even if you walk in at night, still, like, breathing different air, like being outside, hearing the sounds and sights of people or cars or whatever. It's different stimuli for your brain versus your body remaining at rest. So that's number one. If you find yourself in a funk, like, move your body, like, physically move your body, give yourself a break or give yourself a positive disturbance by physically moving around. And number two, this is something that's ongoing, whether you're like Jess and you're coming off of a vacation back to work or whatever that case may be. But be mindful of what you're eating too. Be mindful of what you're putting in your body, because sometimes that can make you sluggish. That can, like, demotivate you. So if you're a, y'all, recovering food addict, okay? I was big on fast food. So just be mindful when you eating the stuff that is, you know, high in the oily, high in oily content, high in sugary content. It's gonna affect you. It's gonna affect you. But yeah, I know that was a lot. Just, like, feel free to jump in with any follow-ups or anything.
And so two of the things that stuck out for me a lot were talking about the stimuli in the room, making sure that you actually get up and move. Of course, now I talked about this a few episodes ago with the Browns. There are those of us that come back from a vacay. Some people, then I'm gonna say those people, that unpack their bag as soon as they get home. And then there's some of us that bag, it stays there sometimes until the next time I need that same suitcase. So I clean it so that I can use it again. Drives my fiance crazy. He like, girl, can you? And I'm like, sir, we just arrived home. Are you not tired? He's unpacking, washing clothes, putting things away. And I'm like, I'm about to take this shower and lay here and watch you do your thing. But talking about, like, the different stimuli and moving around, like, in the house, there were a handful of different things that I decided to do differently when I arrived back. I was so proud of myself that I got all three of my suitcases unpacked in 3 days, and I washed the clothes. And I ain't gonna lie, I didn't fold them clothes, but they were washed and they were put in a place where magically they just get folded so that I can put them away in the drawers and closets. Some, I don't know how they get folded. I just know that they do. Shout out to him. Thanks, babe. But
Word.
like, I was able to get everything unpacked and everything. And there were some things within my office, within my recording space, that I was like, some of these things, I need to get some things set. I need to get some things cleaned. There were some things that I took the time out to do as I was setting and preparing my space for the week, for my work week. And you guys know how I feel about my handy dandy planner with the color coding and everything. And as I was, like, getting my planner organized, I'm like, look, let me get everything else at the desk organized. Let me get the office space organized. And one of the things that I thought about as I walked around and went from room to room, sometimes that when people are like, how's your whole house clean? That's because I will start straightening up one thing. And then when I go to the next room, I'm like, oh, wait, I got to clean that too. So as I was moving throughout the house, I began to notice each room has a different scent. And you may say, like, well, what do you mean each room has a different scent? I started, as you were talking, I started to look around like, you know what? each room has a different scent because each room has a different purpose. So there's a different candle. And these, I don't have the exact same candle in every room. When I'm using disinfectant or deodorizing sprays, or even the things that I use a carpet cleaning, same thing for everywhere throughout the house. But the other things and products that I'm using to clean and sanitize surfaces, the candles that I'm putting in the room, whether I'm just using like a room refreshing spray or something like that. In the guest room, I'm using something very neutral because it's a guest room for other people to come into the space. Right. So there's a focus of a hotel feeling in there. As far as the way it's set up, the cleaning, the products that are used. My office, this is my space. So we are going to have our unicorns. We are going to have like all things just sweet and fruity and fun. And it's like, does some teenage girl live in here? Like, because this is my space. And if y'all can't tell, y'all know I love me some pink. Any shade, any hue, and anything that you would think pink smells like. That's what I like to have in here. Doesn't go over so well in my bedroom because, you know, there's me and someone else who shares that space. So there are more earthy, homey candles and different things that I burn in there. I bring some more masculine scents in. I took the time to actually, while I'm picking up every single candle to smell it, I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to put this one in my office because I know he's going to be like, this is really girly. And I choose things that are more gender neutral to use, and sometimes even choose some of the more masculine scents. And I'm like, oh, I know that he'll like this in a space that we share or in common areas of the home. And I also do the same thing for the downstairs area. There are certain scents that I'm like, this is a living room smell, or something that I will put out in the hallway. And there's like a different, I want to say almost a different vibe in each of those small environments within our home environment. And it does cause a different type of stimuli with each room that I walk into. I would not put bright orange energy inducing scents in the room that I'm supposed to be winding down, settling down, that I'm supposed to be calm. Right. And here I got free reign. Right. We need the girly stuff. We need the citrus. I got some citrus emergency just on deck, okay? Because this is a place for me to be energized, to be upbeat, get up, move around. And then some of the other things that I put in place, I purposely get things one at a time from the kitchen. Because if I only bring one water to my office, guess what I have to do? I have to get up, I have to get in some steps, and I have to walk down the stairs, get what I went down there for, and come back up. And you know what? Y'all know how my mind works. So guess who forgets something and still has to go back downstairs? And so what I did to reframe my mind, instead of being like, insert expletive here, I got to go back downstairs, I just reframe my mind very early on. Oh, this is another opportunity for me to get some steps in. Most of the time we're sedentary, unless you have an active job where you're on your feet, where you're in the building, where you're moving around. We do need to get up and move. Even if it's around the house, like Mel said, or if you've gone beyond that and you're very intentional about getting your steps in inside of the home on a treadmill, or if you're going outside, making sure you're getting that 30 minutes plus where you're out in nature, breathing that fresh air. And sometimes, just crack open the window. The air is different. You do need to breathe different air. And with you bringing up breathing the different air, that's what made sparked my thought for, oh, every room has its candle. Every room has a scent and a vibe. Every room does have a different set of air. And even with the air conditioner on, that scent in each room does make me more aware of getting up, moving, and, you know, doing different things around, and helping with organization, continuing to stimulate my mind in a positive way, and also making sure that I'm getting those steps in, because it's very easy to just sit, type, and you're only going to get up when you have to go to the bathroom. And if you only got to go a couple times and you're not drinking your water, yep. So yeah, that was a really good one. For sure, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I appreciate you breaking down what you have done in each room, because that ties into making your environment conducive to productivity. There, a lot of us don't necessarily do that, so it's very important to do that. So I'm glad you brought that up. That is also a cheat code to breaking out of a funk, because we associate scents with memories. So the way that you have a different scent in each room, all you have to do is smell it and know which room you're walking by. Even if you're not looking, you could be on your phone or something and be in the zone. But as soon as you smell that scent, you're like, oh, I'm walking by the guest room, or oh, I'm walking by my bedroom. You know what I mean? Scents have different. We tend to attach different memories or purposes to different scents. Even if somebody goes blind, if you put something in front of their nose, they're still gonna be able to identify it. You know what I mean? You'll still be able to trigger a memory associated with that. But yeah, Jay Shetty talks about this all the time. He's like, set your environment the way you want it. Like, don't live your life just passively. He's big on living with intention and setting up your environment. Give yourself a very pleasant sense. If you have specific things that you enjoy eating, prepare those things. You know what I mean? If you're someone who struggles with energy, like, research foods that'll boost your energy and seek to remove the foods that drain them. So, like I mentioned earlier about the fatty stuff, um, most people who've heard my story, they know that I went whole food plant based before the surgery. Surgery was in June. I went whole food plant based in March, and huge difference, y'all. Huge difference. The level of energy is different. Brain function is different, because, as Coach Rose says, I'm just eating what God calls food. You know what I mean? Like, Adam and Eve could look at my plate and recognize what I'm eating. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gave
Not the
up.
cheese puffs.
I gave up all the processed. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I gave all of that up. I gave it all up. The closest thing that they might question is bread, because I don't know if Adam and Eve were baking like that, right? They're living in the wild. But they'll recognize everything else though. But yeah, so just a quick recap for you guys. Like, if this is something that you are struggling with, it's that transition. And I talked about this 2 episodes ago on the Getting the Win show. Like, the key in beating procrastination is mastering the transition from one activity to the next. Whatever that next activity is that you want to start doing, is usually just that transition between what you were doing before and what you want to start doing. Because sometimes you'll get super comfortable, to your point, Jess. Like, if it's one of them days where you're like sitting in front of the laptop or computer for hours at a time, you haven't had enough water, so you don't need to pee, right? Like, you haven't moved, but you know the next activity you put on your schedule is to go to the gym. It's going to be real hard to go from sitting in front of your computer for 4 or 5 hours to jumping up and going to the gym. You likely won't want to do it, especially if it's one of them weather cases where it's cold outside or it's raining outside, but you've made the commitment to go. Master the transition. So, all of what we're talking about right now is about that. So, one, move your body even in a small way. Like, get up and force yourself to go to the bathroom. It's your first bit of movement. It gets you off the computer, right? Like, get up. Like, that's the first thing. Move your body. That will change your state. And then, what we talked about as well was what I mentioned with the food thing. Just be mindful of that. And then 3, setting up your environment in a way that is conducive to being productive. If you know you go into the gym after them 5 hours of work, make sure you are either working in your gym clothes, if you're that type of person that can keep your camera off on Zoom, you know what I'm saying? But if not, keep your clothes close to you, like at a nearby table, hanging off of a chair, whatever the case may be. If you're someone that works from home, like, make sure your stuff is easily accessible so that you can put it on quickly, or do a Superman thing. Like, you're someone that may have your work clothes, put your gym clothes underneath your work clothes. Will that be uncomfortable? Probably. You'll probably be hot. but you about to sweat at the gym anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot easier to strip out of your work clothes and be in your gym clothes, because you'd have gotten up to undress, but your gym clothes is there. So then all you got to do is head for the door and get your shoes. You know what I'm saying? And one of the key points, I forget the scientist's name, but this gentleman pointed out in an article, only in the transition do we truly need willpower. Because willpower, you never hear willpower in the conversation of procrastination long term, because it doesn't work long term. You would need systems long term. But just for that transition, going from that first state into the next, you only need the willpower just long enough to make that transition. Other people call it activation energy. You've probably heard that, Jess. Like, that's what it is. It's literally just enough of you forcing yourself, like, okay, let's do this now, to change your physical state. And Mel Robbins actually assigned her own, she codified it with the 5 second rule, where she literally does that 5 second countdown. She was inspired by NASA. And her backstory about that particular rule is a trip and a half. Sister girl was drunk one night. Like, she woke up the next day after being drunk. And it was a situation where she needed to get out of bed. So again, transition, right? Like, being comfortable and warm and wrapped up. She's married, she has a dog, she has kids. So like, she's in bed with all her peoples, and she's comfortable and she's warm, but she knows she needs to get up because she has work to do. And her semi-drunken brain came out with, like, you know what? I'm gonna do this thing like NASA. Like, I'm just gonna count down and then get out the bed. And that's literally what she did. She counted down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And she, like, forced herself, like, dragged herself off of her bed. It wasn't a thing where she, like, jumped out and was like, you know what I mean? Like, she still wanted to be in bed, but she physically forced herself to move by dragging herself off the edge of her bed. And if y'all think I'm capping, go to her Instagram, go to Mel Robbins' Instagram. You will see reels of her literally demonstrating it. She's been, like, wrapped in a blanket and she's literally rolled herself off the bed on camera. It was interesting to watch. But she was providing that helpful hint. She was providing a helpful hint, like, there is no shame in dragging yourself to make the next move if that's what it takes to make the next move. Because she, like me, wants you to get to that next level. Like, whatever it takes for you to be able to make that first step towards the luxury item. I'm wearing the shirt. I don't know if y'all can see it. Like, whatever step it takes to get to that luxury item, like, take that step. Absolutely.
That was really good. So that also kind of sparked for me one of the other things that I usually don't do. And because I noticed the pattern, I was like, you know what? And I almost reneged on it too. I was like, you know what? We need to get groceries. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go get groceries on my lunch break on Monday. For a minute, I wanted to be like, oh, no, that's okay. I'm tired. I still just need to do some work in here. But I'm like, you know what? No, because this is going to cause a cascading effect. If I don't go on my lunch break, after work, I have class to get to. After class is over, I have a meeting to get to. Then I'm going to say, you know what? I give up. I wave the white flag. Babe, can you bring home pizza? Because on Pizza Mondays, there's BOGO on pizza. If we BOGO on pizza on Monday, we're going to eat pizza on Monday and Tuesday, and then we'll get to Wednesday. And I'm not going to feel like going on Wednesday because Wednesday is also a busy day. So what do? Like you said, do that countdown, just get to it, and made sure that I peeled myself away from the desk chair and went ahead and did that seemingly daunting task of going to get the groceries at a time that it wasn't going to be pleasurable for me, at a time that I'm like, I don't really feel like doing this specific task right this second. But that was the time that it was best for me to get it done. And also because I'd already thought about the cascading effect of, if I were to procrastinate and not do it right then, what was that going to mean for the rest of the week? So that was a decision that definitely made a big difference in pretty much the way the entire week has gone. I mean, there have been multiple times that I can think of at lunchtime where I'm like, all right, I'm hungry, time to get something to eat. And oh, lo and behold, I don't have to tip out of the house for 20 to 30 minutes to go grab something, to go get a bowl from wherever. And I can go to my kitchen and I can make my salad there. I don't have to go buy a salad because I did what I needed to do when I didn't want to do it on Monday. And also when it's time to make dinner, pack his lunch, meal prep, and put other things aside, all of those things, I already had the groceries here. And in all honesty, if I hadn't gone Monday at lunchtime, we would have had the pizza. Then we would have had to eat out on Wednesday because by Wednesday, I just wouldn't have felt like it. And some of those things, that all goes into how you were talking about with working out. Put those clothes aside. Some of the things that you don't want to do, it makes it that much easier if all you have to do is reach out and do it. I personally, like she said, it's hard to go work out after work. I ain't doing it. If y'all can just tell, you can see me from here up. You can see how I'm not doing it. Once I'm done with working, I'm going to get on. I'm going to get online with y'all. I'm going to make you guys some content. I'm going to think about what ways can I serve you? What ways can I help? And I'm going to do some creative things right here in this little spot. And or go find some wine in a movie when my brain is like, nope, that's enough. So what do? If and when I'm going to work out, it's first thing in the morning. I'm mad that it's early anyway. So why not go ahead? I'm going to grab those clothes that I already know. When I get up, I'm dragging myself out of the bed. I'm warm. He smells good. I just want to stay here. So making sure that I already have when I take them out the washing machine, I do leggings, sports bra, workout shirt. And I literally stack them so that all I have to do the same way that I would while I'm traveling, I can pull out my one stack and put all these clothes on. I'm not trying to quietly open and close each drawer. I don't want to turn on the closet light because if the light shines in the bedroom, what if it wakes him up? I can just go directly to the dresser where I set out those clothes the day before, pick them up. I don't have to turn on the light. I don't have to trip over nothing. I don't have to move. I can literally, in the pitch black dark, grab the clothes, put them straight onto my body. Which, do I need to do it right at that time? No. But I also know that one of the first things that I need to do earlier in the morning, I'm going to finish my call. I'm going to get him out the door, and then I'm going to go for my walk. So instead of getting dressed twice, because that's going to take me more time, to do something that I already know I'm going to have to count down to do, I make it easier on myself. As soon as I get up, put those workout clothes on, I'm brushing my teeth in those workout clothes. I'm going to the kitchen, making smoothies, packing lunches, cooking breakfast. I'm doing that in my workout clothes. Do you want coffee on your way out, sir? No? Yes? Okay. Put the pot of coffee on. I'm finishing up my call in my ear. I'm finishing up all the packing and everything that I need to do for him. Okay, we'll say our goodbyes. You're going to have a great day. Now, I can go and make this a great day. I don't have to go back upstairs and change my clothes. I don't have to come back upstairs and look at the bed where I know instead of working out, I could go back to sleep for an hour. Or I could just go ahead and come to my office and start working. Nope, I already got my stuff on. I had to go to the shoe rack anyway to kiss him on the way out the door. Put on those workout shoes. He's out the door. You go out the door too. To count my steps. And now let's go. When I start to deviate from any of those things, that same ripple effect, it is disruptive to that routine that makes it easier for me to do the thing that I don't necessarily want to do, but it needs to be done for my overall health.
Facts.com. Yeah, and you and I do something very similar in terms of like setting out the clothes in the exact sequence that we're going to put them on. Like, absolutely. It's so much easier to do it that way because you're not having to shuffle through and figure out what is what in the dark. Like, Like I already know I'm grabbing this first, putting it on, grabbing this next, putting it on, grabbing that, putting it on. Like make your life as easy as possible. As easy as possible. Some people recommend, if you're someone that works out in the morning, like some people recommend setting the clothes out at night. Some people recommend sleeping in them overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Like that way you just wake up in them. You know what I mean? That cuts out the time for you to get dressed. You're already dressed. You get up, you wake up in your clothes. And then one quick thing, just for the viewers, y'all might not need this, but I realized this like maybe last week, a couple weeks ago. And I had first heard about the 5 second rule like 4 years ago, like pre-pandemic, with Mel Robbins. My mistake when I tried it the first time was I was doing it up here. So it didn't really work for me. And then I thought about it, and this goes to another cheat code here. I thought about it. The way that it works is you have to say it out loud. You have to do the countdown out loud if you want it to work. Here's why this is a cheat code. One, the brain has an expectation. When you're counting down from 5, it's expecting something after 1. Like whatever you set to happen after you say 1, the brain is preparing for whatever it is you're going to do. But 2, this is just a principle dealing with the mind and body. When you speak out loud, you override your mind. Whatever's going on up there, whether positive or negative, doesn't matter. Whatever you have going on in here, the moment you say something out loud, this has to shut up. It literally has to. Because the energy that it's using to formulate words in your head, it has to now focus on formulating words to come out of here. It can only do one or the other. So what are the powerful ways to override the I don't feel like it, I don't want to, this is going to be tough, like, oh, is this going to work? I might fail at this. Whatever's going on up here, override it with words. And as we Jess and I hear Mignon say all the time, speak what you seek until you see what you've said. So like say whatever it is. In this case, if it's the 5 second rule that you need, count down from 5. And then when you hear 1, when you hear yourself say 1, like get up and make whatever physical movements you need to break out of whatever that funk is, or whatever that sense of stasis is from your previous state. So I wanted to mention that in terms of the speaking out loud, because that's very, very, very important.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. It reminded me of when we always hear some of these cliches, but we don't necessarily pay attention to what it means when it's like, speak to that thing. Like, no, literally speak out of your mouth, speak to that thing. And I'm a fan of talking to myself. Me and self, we be having a good time. I'm like, hey, self say, what's up? And we have us a wonderful time. And sometimes I'll say things out loud, even sarcastically to myself, if I'm not feeling the greatest, or I am kind of feeling a little humdrum. One thing that I saw that it always stuck with me while I was traveling. I was in Aruba. One of the times that I visited, I was at one of those like little tiki bar things. And the bartender, he was moving around a little faster than normal island time, because y'all know island time is a little bit more laid back. But he was moving a little faster than laid back. Chill. And so he ended up breaking a glass into the ice pit. And if you know anything about bartending, shout out to our past guest Jazz. If you know anything about bartending and spirits, or even just working in the food industry, if anything falls into that ice bin, all of it has to be dumped. You aren't picking anything out of the ice. Everything has to go. The entire thing needs to be cleaned out, sanitized, and you bring brand new ice in there. Like, it's done. And when I tell you, like, the ice it looked like it had just gotten refilled. And luckily he had just got finished putting the ice into there may have been like 7 or 8 drinks that he was about to make, like right in a row. And because he was getting backed up, moving too fast, he's shoveling the ice into all of these cups. He's lining everything up so that he can get ready to do the mixology portion of it. And he breaks the glass, and he's like, "Oh, boop." We'll put the beep over that." And he's like,
Yep, beep.
he just grabs his bar towel, flaps it, throws it over his shoulder, and he was like, this is one happy island. Aruba, one happy island. And he left it. He slowed down a bit, did a little shake off, reset, and continued to make the drinks at a regular pace. Got all the rest of us out of there, and then went to start to do the removal process to get the whole bin out, dump it in the proper area and all that. And one of his coworkers, once he got the ice, came over to like sweep up on the floor and everything. And like just seeing that happen, I was like, you know what? There's so many times in life that like that one thing when we break the glass in the ice, it's like, oh man, everything is about to be messed up now. Like, oh, this is the day is just, and it's like, is the day really gone? Is it? Like, and shout out to ET.
Right.
You get your 5-minute funk, and you don't even need all 5 minutes. You really don't. Because that moment, it really was only 5 seconds. Really. And just watching in real life and in real time, this guy recovering and resetting in literally a matter of seconds. He didn't even take 60 seconds to reset himself. And he had that thought in his head, and he went ahead and said it out loud. Aruba, one happy island. And went back to what he was doing. And so one of the things that I always end up saying to myself, and most of the time I'll say it a bit sarcastically, but I'm speaking to that thing. If something happens or something's not going my way, I'm just like, can't imagine a better day. I really can't. But if I could. And sometimes I'll just go ahead from there. But I will just, stop myself with, I can't imagine a better day. And that helps me to go ahead, speaking out of my mouth. So I have to stop thinking about, my mind isn't able to trail off into, dang, that thing just happened. Well, what if this? What if that? What if? That's creating anxiety, all these what ifs about the future. Some things that you may or may not have control over, but things that you're just making up that are negative because one negative thing happened. Now you letting that train leave the station. You be the conductor. Speak out of your mouth so that you can stop that train of thoughts before it's ever even out of here. And you're able to realign yourself and choose to go the happy way. Choose to go to Candyland. I'm always going to choose to go to Candyland instead. I'm going to choose a sweet route, the fun route, and the route that has something pink. Okay? So yeah, that was really good. I love that.
Facts. And I love his reframe, Aruba, one happy island. Because anytime you think of things that's happy, it tends to, it tends to make you feel better. Yeah, that could have that could have gone south real fast. So shout out to him. That's powerful. But yeah, and I mean that's speaking aloud is for folks that are, in that spiritual vein, that's a huge spiritual principle. You can easily override because the mind and the body are connected in an infinite loop. There are times when your mind, like your mindset, can override what your body's doing, but there are times when you can use your body to override your mind if you're thinking thoughts that don't serve you. Like Tony Robbins is a huge proponent of that. He calls it changing your state. Like sometimes it's just a matter of fixing your body however you need to. If you're having, for instance, if you're having a crappy day, they call it the Wonder Woman pose. It's basically you like standing with your hands on your hips like this. There is something in the body, literally. It releases the hormones that help you be more assertive, more aggressive, more direct. You know what I mean? Like the body literally responds to you standing in that pose because your body believes that you're in a place of victory. Change your state. There are times when all you got to do is move your body to change your state. Or for instance, there's certain poses that they call like the more the more masculine poses. So like there's the victory one, there's the Wonder Woman one, but even some of the poses you see confident men do, you know what I mean? They'll have one hand on their hip or sometimes both. The Wonder Woman pose is when your hand is in fist like this and it's at the side. But sometimes you'll see fellas with one hand like open and just chilling on the hip. Like even that, even that makes a difference. When you're standing with both hands on your hips, that makes a difference. It's the same. You're giving your body that same signal of aggression and sharper focus, like we about to win this, whatever this is. Like we're about to conquer this. Standing up straight as opposed to being reclined, that sort of thing. It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference, as small as those gestures are. And just a personal example in terms of like speaking something out loud. There was a time in my recovery, like while I was recovering from the surgery, where I knew I had to get up, like just to walk around the house. And I had to remind myself of what I did in the hospital. Because, y'all, this was a surgery that had me in the hospital for 5 days. I was supposed to be there overnight, but I ended up there for 5 days. And they had brought in a walker for me to use. The first day they brought it to me, I used it. And then I had to get some blood because my iron was too low after the surgery. After them 2 blood packs, I was fine. I was up and walking without the walker after them transfusions. Up and walking, doing laps around the hospital floor without, like, unassisted, right? So here at home now in recovery, I had to remind myself, Mellissa, if you could do laps around the hospital floor where it is freezing cold and it would be so much easier for you to stay in bed. You're here at home now. It's not freezing cold. It's comfortable. It's perfectly okay for you to get out of bed and walk. I had to tell myself to get up. And then I did exactly what Mel Robbins does. I didn't do the countdown, but I did roll myself out of the bed. Carefully, because core, right? But I physically shifted my weight to force myself to get out of the bed. Sometimes that is what you have to do to master that transition from where you are to what you want to be doing, whatever that next activity is that you want to be doing. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's real. So if you don't remember nothing else, hashtag get up. Okay? Sometimes get up and just move. You ain't even got to have a destination. Get up and walk away. How many times you wait until you're frustrated at your desk and you like, and then you get up and walk. Like, no, just do it. Just in the middle of, just get up and walk away. Get up and walk away. You don't have to wait until you're frustrated, until you over it, until you like literally had it up to here. Like, no, go ahead. Get up and walk away because that is what's needed. And it's not just needed in extreme cases. It's something that we need on a regular basis. And hence why I told you guys earlier in this episode that I'm like, nope, I only got 1 bottle of water because I need to get up and go move somewhere. And make sure if you can, put those cues in the room for yourself. Because I mean, we're used to being sedentary. You got to think about what you're thinking about and outsmart yourself. Mm-hmm. Folks always plotting on somebody else or always plotting on you. Pre-plot on yourself. You already know what some of your challenges are, or even if you don't presume it as a challenge, areas where you can go from great to better, great to phenomenal. Like, you don't have to be average in any area. There's always some ways that you can improve so that you can get a better outcome from the things that you input. So a few of those things, just make sure, and when you're controlling that environment, make it easier for you. Make it easier for yourself. I call them prerequisites. I put the prerequisites, I build them into my life. That is how I'm able to sustain doing a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And it's, oh, you're so organized. No, I'm not. Do you guys hear me talking? I'm not organized. I'm organized because I have to be. And also because it makes it easier for me to be able to accomplish the things that I would like to accomplish and do the things that I want to do. It's not that I just love being organized. Even the books on the shelves behind me, the books on the shelves are organized because if and when I would like to reference a book, reference something that I read, I want to turn around and pick it up off the shelf. I'm not going through this whole house looking for that one book. I want to go to
Right.
one place where I know where it's at. And it, for me, I'd say about everything, it don't take that long. It doesn't take that long if you have already thought about it and put these things in place. Um, and it doesn't, organization doesn't have to look pretty. No, so don't get me wrong. Sometimes organization, it can look nice. But sometimes organization and making sure that you are putting these fail safes in place. My gym workout clothes, it's organized, but it doesn't look pretty because you're gonna look at a dresser and say, oh, just because there's space on top of this dresser doesn't mean put a stack of clothes on top of it. For me, that stack of clothes that's on top of it is wake up, get your pre-folded gym clothes off of there, put them on your body and leave. So keep that in mind. Organization for you may not look picture perfect. It may not look the greatest to somebody else, but it is organizing things in the way that is most beneficial to you. And sometimes it can be beneficial to those around you, especially through what you are giving and pouring into other people. Because once you have things organized so that you are more efficient, you're more available, if you so choose, to be there for other people. And don't forget, because be there for other people in mutually beneficial relationships. Hashtag that. So I wasn't gonna leave that part out, okay? So in this instance of if you like, well, what does this have to do with everybody can't go? Remember, I tell you all the time, sometimes that old version of you can't go. So as you're making these micro improvements, those look, okay? Because some of those small habits, those are things that they can be changed over time for a better you and to help you transition and be more prepared for your next level.
Absolutely. Let me put a highlighter on that. This is my version of yay and amen to that. So I recently did an episode on my show where I let everyone know safe equals stunted. So to your point about you don't have to be, average throughout your whole life. Like you can always improve. Like sticking with the habits that you've always done or you've always known. The issue with that is you don't experiment or try new things, and therefore you don't get to iterate. Like the word we like to use is fail, but what I said in my episode is don't look at it as failure, look at it as learning. And if you look at it as learning, it's you upgrading yourself, because each time you learn something, you're going to try something new and you're sharpening yourself, you're upgrading and refining who you are, which means safe equals stunted. You're not going to be able to grow from that. Like we're time bound creatures. If we don't move, we're automatically going backwards. Just by default, we're automatically going backwards. So there is a level of safety that we do need just for the sake of survival. But in terms of your habits, yeah, that old version of you can't go, because that old version of you is going to stunt you from getting your luxury item done.
Mm-hmm. And as you were talking, I was just thinking, like, oh, y'all, as much as y'all be like, look, I still like me some Coach craftsmanship because they are the masters of leather and what they do. But don't be a Coach bag. You ain't got to still be a Coach bag and an outlet Coach bag at that from 2 seasons ago with some of the stitches broke. You don't have to be that. Look, because Milty got me reminding myself on a daily. She told it to me one time, and I said, oh, that is my mantra now. I am a luxury item. Anything that I'm working on, hashtag a luxury item. Be a luxury item, baby. Be a luxury item, okay? So if you're going to sit up here and fix your mouth to be talking about Coach, don't be Coach. And I will work your way out of flying, Coach. I'm just go ahead and say that, okay? Because we're trying to head straight to the top. Take you guys there with us. And also weed out those that can't go. Because, I tried to put everybody on my back. It didn't work out too well. And the version of me that thought that way, that was like, oh, yeah, everybody can go. I had to leave her behind, too. So Thank you so much, Mel, for coming on with us today. I so appreciate it. Like, this was a good convo. Like, look, y'all got a little insight into. I'm like, you know
Yes.
what? This would be helpful for the people to hear. So instead of me just calling Mel, like, hi, how's your week, and doing my check in with her, I'm like, you know what?
Hi.
This, like, you've shared some of your struggle with me, and even with me pre-knowing about it, I thought that I was just gonna come back, jump straight into it. Some of the things in my game plan did work out well, but it didn't work out the way that I thought it was going to. And I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and get this out to the people, because if we me and her got to talk about it amongst one another, I know that there's somebody out there, one of you guys, that this has either happened before, is happening right now, or about to happen. So us being able to share our experiences with you, so that we can get you pre-prepped and get you some tools and some resources so that you can have a better outcome than we did, as we're learning, as we're growing, and we can make sure that you ahead of the ball as much as we possibly can. And so, Mel, thank you for your openness, honesty, transparency. Thank you for taking the time out to come on with me in the audience. And shout out to the Mel T fans out there. Okay, y'all know I don't like to share, but I will, because she is so amazing and has so much value to go around. I will, somebody that's near and dear to my heart, I will share her with y'all.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. All right. Well, we will call it a wrap, and we will see you guys next week for another Everybody Can't Go convo.
Hmm?
I stopped talking because it's
What's that?
stopping for so long. My connection is fried.
Yeah.
That lag was killing me, and I'm
Mm.
like, well, I gotta edit it
Glitch that
anyway,
way.
so I'll see how does it do on putting our two streams together, because like the gestures, and oh, come on, bro.
You froze. And for the record, it is still recording. Yep. Okay. Hey, watch them words, man. Watch them words. There we go. No, it's still recording. It's still recording. Yep. I still see the little red. Ooh. Sure. All good. Not all of it, but like I heard like you. Sure. Did it finish? Because it's still looking like it's recording over here. I know you were saying on my side. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. So I'm good on that. Thanks for having me. Bye.